All right, let's dive into this. Um, Ali Abdaal's feel-good productivity is our target today.
Okay.
And we are here for you because you wanted to know what the fuss is all about.
Yep.
This book,
Yeah.
it's been everywhere, hit the New York Times list, the Sunday Times, all the big ones.
Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
some of the reviews we've got are, well, not everyone's a fan.
Interesting.
So is this another productivity hack, or is there something different going on here? Let's
Well,
unpack it, shall we?
yeah, for sure. You know, what's really interesting is how Abdal kind of flips the script on that whole productivity thing. Instead of the typical,
Right.
grind harder,
Right, right.
he says enjoying what you do is actually the key.
Really?
Yeah, he calls it a cycle. Feel good, have energy, be productive.
Okay, I gotta say,
Mhm.
I've definitely been hit with that hustle harder message a lot.
Oh, for sure.
So it's almost like radical, you know,
Yeah.
to think about enjoying work.
Yeah.
But is this realistic? Or is it just like a feel-good fantasy?
That's the big question, right? I mean, is it actually possible?
Yeah.
Avdal argues it's not about being happy 24/7.
Okay.
He's got this idea. The three energizers, play, power, and people. And they tap into different ways to feel good
Yeah.
and as a result, boost productivity.
3 Ps. Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
Sounds catchy.
It is catchy, yeah.
But to be honest, how does play fit into, actually getting things done?
Yeah.
It sounds a little, I don't know.
Childish.
Yeah, maybe it might sound a little counterintuitive.
Mm-hmm.
But Abdal's argument is that bringing a sense of playfulness to work
Okay.
can actually spark creativity and problem solving.
Mm-hmm.
It's got this key question he asks.
What is it?
What would this look like if it were fun?
Ah, okay.
It's about finding ways to make even those mundane tasks more engaging,
That question's so simple, but wow, powerful. I can see how that could shift your perspective on even the most dreaded tasks.
Right.
It's almost like tricking your brain into enjoying something you wouldn't normally. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And it's not about forcing yourself to be happy about doing something you hate, It's about those little ways to make the process itself more enjoyable.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
What about power? Like, how does feeling powerful make you more productive? Isn't that kind of, an ego thing?
Not necessarily. You see, his idea of power isn't about, dominating others.
Yeah.
It's more about feeling in control of your work and your life. So he talks about things like building competence and embracing a beginner's mindset, which actually helps you feel more powerful when you face challenges.
So it's about feeling capable, not necessarily like you're the boss.
Exactly.
And this ties into productivity because
Because when you feel confident and in control, you're more likely to take on those challenging tasks, and you actually persevere through obstacles. You're not so afraid of making mistakes,
Oh, that makes sense.
which frees you up to be more creative and productive.
Yeah, it's like that fake it till you make it idea, but with more of a grounded approach.
Right.
Okay, so then there's people. I mean, that sounds kind of self-explanatory.
Yeah.
But how does that fit into this whole productivity framework?
Abdal's really big on positive social interactions.
Mm-hmm.
He sees them as a source of energy and motivation. He talks about this thing called active constructive responding, basically celebrating others' successes.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, it's about genuinely being happy for other people.
Right.
Which, yeah, it strengthens relationships, but it also creates a more positive and supportive work environment.
So it's a win-win, right?
Yeah.
Everyone feels good. Everyone's more motivated. I like that. It's not just me, myself, and I productivity.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
about that culture of collaboration.
For sure. And even on a personal level, seeking help when you need it is a big part of that people energizer. Recognizing we don't have to do everything alone.
It takes a village.
Yeah, and asking for help can actually be a sign of strength, not weakness.
Right. Okay, so we've got the theory down, but I'm really curious about the actual techniques Abdal offers for putting these energizers into practice. The reviews mention some interesting examples.
Yeah, he gives a ton of practical examples. Some are definitely more out there than others. One that really stood out to me was the Batman effect.
The Batman effect. Okay, you got to hear this one.
It's where you use alter egos to tackle challenging tasks.
Wait, so I put on a cape and...
Not quite. It's more about stepping outside your usual identity and adopting a different persona to approach a task. Like, say you're struggling to write. You could imagine yourself as, I don't know, a famous author or like a fearless journalist.
So it's role-playing for productivity.
Yeah.
I could see how that could be fun and help you overcome those mental blocks.
Right.
But doesn't it feel a little fake?
It might at first, but the idea is by adopting a different mindset, you can tap into different skills and strengths.
Okay, it's
You might not normally access them, so it's about experimenting with different ways of being, seeing what works for you.
All right, I'm willing to keep an open mind.
Good.
What other techniques stood out to you?
Well, let's talk about dealing with procrastination, because let's be real, that's the productivity killer.
Oh, tell me about it.
Abdaal says procrastination usually comes from a lack of clarity or some kind of underlying fear. He's got a few techniques that seem really helpful.
Okay, so let's get into those techniques for dealing with procrastination.
Yeah.
I mean, is it just making to-do lists, or what are we talking about here?
Nah, it goes deeper than that. One technique that really stuck with me was the 1-10-10 rule.
Oh, okay.
It's all about asking yourself, will this matter in 10 minutes?
Right.
Will this matter in 10 weeks? Will it matter in 10 years?
I've heard of that one.
Yeah.
It's about putting things in perspective, right?
Exactly, yeah. It helps you kind of calm those anxieties.
Right.
Those what-if anxieties that make you just freeze up.
Yeah.
But is that enough to break the procrastination habit?
That's what I'm wondering, yeah.
It's not some magic bullet, but it can be really powerful for reframing your thinking. Abdaal also talks about the importance of self-forgiveness.
Oh.
So instead of beating yourself up for procrastinating, you acknowledge it and move on.
That makes a lot of sense. Dwelling on the past just keeps you stuck. Right?
Totally, yeah. But then the question is, how do you actually move forward?
Right, because sometimes those tasks just feel too overwhelming
I know. Right.
to even start.
Exactly. That's where the next action step method comes in.
Oh, okay.
You break down a big task into smaller chunks.
Are you sick of not being able to create habits that stick? Well, meet Atoms, the habit tracking app from the team behind Atomic Habits that actually makes building good habits that stick. And that's really the remarkable thing about Atomic Habits. No endless features you'll never use, no complicated charts, just the own core tools that James Clear used to write his best-selling book and build his own habits. You can track up to 3 habits for free with the app. It's available on Android and iOS. I love how Adam sends me a simple daily reminder. Did you do your 1% better today? Because that's what it's all about. Tiny changes, remarkable results. You can try Atoms for free for 30 days and see why over 100,000 people are building better habits, one atomic change at a time. Check out the link for the description. Now, back to the show.
Okay.
And the key is to figure out that very next concrete action you can take.
So it's like, what's the one thing I can do right now to get this ball rolling?
Exactly, yeah. It's a classic technique. But I think what Abdaal emphasizes is that focus on the very next step.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It helps eliminate that feeling of being overwhelmed.
Right, like you're paralyzed by this huge task.
Exactly, yeah. It's about building momentum. Once you take that first step, it becomes easier to keep going.
Right, okay, so you keep going, you're productive, you're feeling good. But what about the long game?
Ah, good point. That's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
There's a whole section of the book about sustainability.
Oh, right. Sustain.
Yeah, because a burst of productivity is great, but how do you keep this going?
Right. Make it a lifestyle.
Exactly. Yeah. And Abdaal has some pretty thought-provoking ideas there. Some might even call them controversial.
Ooh, I like where this is going.
Get ready. One of them is the hell yeah or no filter.
Okay, what's that?
It's about being super selective about what you commit to.
Okay.
You only say yes to things that genuinely excite you. Everything else is a no.
Whoa. That's pretty hardcore, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I get being intentional with your time, but won't you miss out on some good stuff if you're that strict?
That's a good point, and it might not be for everyone. But Abdaal argues that by being so selective, you free up time and energy for the things that matter most.
So quality over quantity.
Exactly.
It's got to be worth your energy.
Right. He says all those half-hearted commitments just drain us.
They really do.
Yeah, and leave us feeling scattered.
Yeah, that resonates with me. But how do you actually, implement that?
Yeah, it's not something you just switch on overnight, right? It's more of a gradual shift.
Okay.
Learning to be more discerning about where your attention goes, your energy goes.
It's a mindset thing.
Totally.
I'd be curious to hear how Abdaal actually uses this filter himself.
Oh, yeah, he shares some stories about it.
Does he?
Yeah, about how he makes decisions about projects, commitments, even social events.
Yeah.
He's big on trusting your gut feeling. If something doesn't make you say, hell yeah, then it's probably a no.
Okay.
Even if it looks good on paper.
Interesting. It's about being true to yourself, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, are you ready for another controversial one?
Hit me with it.
This one's called the Rate-Off Principle.
All right, lay it on me.
It's about taking a day off.
A day off. We all love those.
Yeah, but here's the catch. A day off from achieving anything.
Wait, a whole day where you're not supposed to be productive at all?
Yep, that's the idea.
That sounds impossible.
I know, right? It goes against everything we're taught about productivity.
Yeah, how can that possibly be good in the long run?
The idea is that by completely detaching from our goals and to-do lists,
Mm-hmm.
we let our minds and bodies truly rest and recharge.
Okay, I can see how that might help with burnout.
Right.
But how's that different from a regular day off?
It's about the intention behind the rest. A rate-off day isn't just about sleeping in
Okay.
or watching TV. It's about consciously choosing to detach from anything goal-oriented.
So no work, no chores, nothing.
Exactly, yeah. It's a total break from doing mode.
So it's like hitting the reset button on your brain.
Yeah, a mental detox.
I get it, but it sounds so hard to actually do.
It is, especially in our always-on culture.
Oh.
But Abdaal says it takes practice,
Yeah.
discipline to really embrace it.
And you wouldn't do it every week, right?
Yeah. No, it's more about strategically incorporating these days into your routine.
And you're feeling fried.
Exactly, when you're overwhelmed, burnt out.
Okay, I'm starting to see the appeal.
It's like giving yourself permission to just be
Right.
without that pressure to perform.
It's a radical idea for sure, but I like it.
Yeah, it goes against the grain, but that's what's so refreshing about Abdal's approach. He's challenging those conventional ideas about productivity.
So we've got the hell yeah or no filter, the rate-off principle. Any other mind-bending techniques in this book?
Well, buckle up because this next one is maybe the most thought-provoking of them all
Okay, I'm ready?
and potentially unsettling. You ready?
Yeah, go for it.
It's writing your own eulogy.
Whoa. That took a turn. Writing my own
Eulogy.
eulogy. Isn't that a bit, morbid?
Yeah, it might seem that way at first,
No.
but Abdal argues that thinking about your own mortality
Okay.
can actually be super powerful for figuring out your values and life goals. It's like if you imagine what you want people to say about you after you're gone,
Yeah.
you get a clearer sense of what truly matters.
It's like you're stepping outside of your life and looking at the bigger picture.
Exactly.
I can see how that could help you prioritize things, but isn't that a little heavy for a book about productivity?
It is heavy, but Abdal's point is that real productivity isn't just about checking things off a list.
Right.
It's about living a meaningful life.
Okay.
And sometimes you need a little jolt or reminder of our own mortality to really make us think about our priorities.
So it's about aligning your actions with what you truly value,
Exactly.
even if it means facing some hard truths.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not easy, but it can be transformative,
It makes you live more intentionally.
right?
I'm definitely going to have to try that one, see what comes up. Okay, but let's shift gears a bit. We've talked a lot about the content of the book, but what about the way it's written, the structure, the style? Do the reviews say anything about what makes it a good read?
Definitely. Even those who weren't totally on board with Abdal's ideas still said the book is well-written and engaging.
Yeah, that's important.
Oh, absolutely. He's got a really clear, accessible style,
Mm-hmm.
and he uses tons of personal anecdotes and examples.
Right, that makes it real.
Totally.
Hmm.
It's one thing to talk about a theory, but it's way more impactful when you can see how it works in real life.
And Abdal's stories are relatable, often even funny.
Yeah, he doesn't pretend to be perfect.
Right.
He shares his own struggles with productivity.
Which makes him more human, less preachy.
For sure.
Okay, so the content is interesting, the writing style is engaging. What about the structure of the book?
That's a strength, too. It's well organized, broken down into manageable chunks.
Yeah.
Each chapter has a specific focus, and there are lots of summaries and takeaways.
So you don't get lost.
Right, it's not just a jumble of random ideas. There's a clear framework.
Yeah.
And even though it covers a lot, it never feels overwhelming.
That's good.
His writing keeps you moving, you know. You don't get bogged down in too much detail.
So it's a good balance of depth and accessibility.
Exactly. And I think that's what makes this book appealing to so many people.
Right, like you don't have to be a productivity expert to get something out of it.
Totally. Whether you're just starting out or you've been doing this for years, there's something for everyone.
It's like a productivity buffet.
Haha. Yeah, I like
You
that.
can pick and choose what works for you.
Exactly.
There's no pressure to do it all.
Right, and I think that's what sets it apart from other productivity books.
How so?
It's not about following a rigid set of rules.
Okay.
It's about finding what works for you.
It's personalized.
Yeah, you get to design a system that fits your life, not the other way around.
It's about taking ownership of your productivity journey.
Exactly. And that's what makes Feel Good Productivity such a great book.
Okay.
It's not just about getting things done. It's about living a more intentional, joyful life.
Finding that balance between productivity and well-being.
Exactly. It seems like we've covered a lot in this deep dive.
We have Abdaal's philosophy, his techniques, even the structure of the book.
We've challenged some ideas, even contemplated our own mortality.
It's been quite the journey. But before we wrap up, we have one final thought-provoking question to leave you with.
All right, hit me with it.
Remember how Abdaal calls himself a productivity scientist?
Yeah, that idea of constantly experimenting, finding what works.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So here's the question. Could you become a productivity scientist in your own life? How would you apply that experimental mindset to boost your well-being and effectiveness?
It's about being open to trying new things, right?
Yeah.
Not being afraid to fail.
Exactly, yeah. It might even mean letting go of some of your old ideas about what productivity even means.
Yeah, like what I really took away from this book is that it's okay to enjoy the process,
Right.
not just grind through it.
It's almost like a rebellion against that whole hustle culture thing.
Totally. And he gives you actual tools to do that, like those 3 Energizers.
Yeah.
That's 10-10-10 rule.
Mm-hmm.
Even the more out there ones. Oh, yeah. Those are the fun ones.
Like the hell yeah or no filter, the read-off principle.
I think those are the ones that really push you to think differently,
Yeah, they make you rethink your priorities,
Totally.
how you rest, how you spend your time.
And that's what makes this book so interesting, right? It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing.
No, it's like a toolbox.
Exactly.
You get to pick and choose what works for you.
And that's what we hope you got from this deep dive. It's not about copying Abdaal exactly. It's about using his ideas as a starting point.
Yeah, finding your own way.
So embrace the journey.
Be open to new things.
And ultimately, design a life that feels good and lets you get things done.
Awesome. Well, I think that about wraps it up for our deep dive into feel-good productivity.
I think so, yeah.
We hope you enjoyed it and maybe even feel inspired to become your own productivity scientist.
That's the goal.
Until next time, happy experimenting.